Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, brought to you by MyBookie. Use code SickPicks for a 50% deposit bonus. Bet, win, get paid. You can place your bets on mybookie.ag. And joining me today to talk Montreal Canadiens is a man that I have known for a very, very long time. He's covered the Canadiens for a very long time, and he talks Montreal Canadiens hockey on Global TV Montreal. Brian Wilde, how you doing, bud?
I am great. It's great to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing extremely well. Dominic Ducharme era.
Yep.
Glass half full or glass half empty? Because last night they lost to the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 in overtime. They picked up a point, but then again, it's going to a team that they're going to be competing for a playoff spot with. So under Ducharme, a 6-3 loss in Winnipeg, a 2-1 overtime loss, a win versus the Ottawa Senators by a score of 3-1. And a 4-3 overtime loss. Half full or half empty?
Oh, man, that's a hard question right off the bat, bud. For me, I don't even want to say just yet. I mean, there are some things that are good. You know, there's more puck support. I like that. He's making some decisions in overtime 3-3 that are a little bit better. But the glass is also half empty too, isn't it? Because in some ways, you're still confounded by certain things, like what is Shea Weber doing out in overtime? What is Ben Sherratt doing out in overtime? Why is Jesperi Kotkaniemi still getting 13 minutes? Why is a guy who's got 22 minutes still playing 22 minutes when he hasn't scored in over a calendar year with a goalie in the net? So, I mean, there's some things that you're still pretty confounded about, but there's some things that you're still, saying, all right, here's a guy that's making some changes, and the changes are working. Like the power plays 4 for 8, so the glass is out full there. So I don't know. Whatever mood you're in the day maybe decides if it's full or empty.
I'll tell you what I loved on Thursday night. I love the fact that Canadians outshot the Jets. I love the fact that the Canadians had more than 30 shots, that they kept the Jets to under 30 shots, that the Canadians only took 2 penalties, that the Canadians killed off both penalties, that the Canadians scored on their only power play, that the Canadians showed character coming back after being down 2-0 and scoring a goal to tie up the game with about a minute and a half left in the game when they pulled the goalie. I loved all of that.
See,
and then the overtime happened.
Guy.
Well, then the overtime happened, and I started hitting my head against the wall. And today I'm upset again because, last week on Saturday, you played the Jets. The game went to overtime. They put on the line of Stastny, Connor, and Ehlers. And you, Dominic Ducharme, countered with Danault, or you put your Danault first with Armia and Petrie. They put out their line. It lasted less than 30 seconds, and Yoel Armia was not very good at it. I look at it this way. First, this is my school of thought here. 3-on-3 is not 5-on-5. It's a different game, almost like a game of pond hockey. Number one.
Don't even think in terms of how everything else went before it.
Correct. And
that's how different it is.
This is what I think you need 3-on-3. You need speed, you need skill, you need goal scoring, you need IQ, and those are and someone who holds on to the puck. Yoel Armia is only really good at puck possession in all those categories. I can't believe he put Armia out there for 2 shifts on the 3-on-3 after what happened on Saturday night. That's why I'm upset.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. When it comes to the overtime being 3-on-3, as you just said, the Canadians are never going to really excel at that. That is a track meet. That's Usain Bolt out there. And the owners of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and they got out in Vancouver, they got Horvat and Penderson, and in Winnipeg, they got 6 guys that they can put out who are probably better. And I don't know if I can list all 6 if I tried, but you can help me if I forget one. But you got Connor, you got Scheifele, keep going.
Wheeler,
you got Wheeler, you got Dubois, you got the guy who played in Halifax that I forgot is the 6th one, Ehlers. No. So so you got 6 guys there that are probably better than any of the 6 at 3-on-3 overtime that the Canadians could put out there. So I mean, it's a track meet, and they do not have the track meet stars. But they still got to go out and try to win the game because that's the purpose. You already earned the 1 point. They can't take it from you.
Okay, so granted, but the team that has the better players doesn't always win games, right? And that's the beauty of professional sports. But
absolutely, but over the long run, it's it's a track meet.
Yeah, but just think about it. If you're Brendan Gallagher and you've led this team in goals scored for the last 3 years, and you're sitting on the bench and you have an A on your jersey, and you see Yoel Armia out there for 2 shifts and Sherrod and Weber on defense. You got it. And you're watching the other team who's got 3 forwards out there continuously. I mean, you can have a debate whether or not Brendan Gallagher's an ideal 3-on-3 player. You can have that debate. But you can't debate that the Canadians don't have a better chance to win the game 3-on-3 with a Gallagher instead of an Armia, instead of a Weber, and instead of a Sherrod. Come on, man. Dominic Ducharme. Plus ça change, plus c'est pareil. What are you doing, man? Come on.
Yeah, that's you know, and if you're Gallagher too, you've been the top goal scorer for a long time. You've been a consistent performer, and like you said, I don't even know what the blueprint is there that he seemed to have gotten blackballed. I don't know why he got blackballed. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a tenacious guy. He'll be a puck winner. It's not like he's slow. I don't understand why he got blackballed in overtime at all. And I don't understand why Shea Weber's not blackballed. He was in the overtime in the attacking corner at one point, and you're going, oh my God, that's 200 feet back where he's going to be, 40 feet shy of. He should not be out there. It's just not hockey for him. So, I mean, I guess you always hope, we're basically reporters and fans and, just guys that watch the game and try to be students of the game and intelligent. And, but we're not head coaches ourselves. But Tony, we say to ourselves, well, how come little old me can figure out that Shea Weber in a speed merchant game shouldn't be out there? Why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then the answer to that is very obvious, isn't it? You know the answer to that, Tony? It's hierarchy. And it takes guts.
Yeah.
It takes courage as a head coach to say, you know what? I'm throwing out the hierarchy. Because we need to win some hockey games.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to have the courage to throw out hierarchy, which is no Weber, I don't care what the hierarchy is. No Weber 3-on-3. I don't care what the hierarchy is. No Sherrod. I don't care what the hierarchy is. Brett Kulak's a better skater. He needs to be out there. Romanov is the only guy that's really two-way along with Petrie. So you say to yourself, I have to have a defenseman. The 3 defensemen should be outside of the hierarchy. They should be Romanov, Kulak, and Petrie. So what's the hard thing there? It's the thing we don't understand as reporters, journalists, fans. And it's the thing that in the room, the head coach has to go up to a guy like Shea and say, you're getting a little older now. Hey, you're not as fast as you used to be. And I'm going to have to do something really hard, and you're going to want to punch me in the face. I got
a pretty good idea. Why don't you do this?
Yeah.
You played with a line of Danault, Gallagher, and Tatar.
Yeah.
Right? Put them out there. You played with a line of Suzuki, Drouin, and Toffoli. Put them out there.
Mm-hmm.
You played with a Jesperi, Kotkaniemi, right? And maybe you're looking at his line mates and you're saying, I'm not so sure. Why don't you put Kotkaniemi with Byron and Romanov? Romanov played a 3-on-3 earlier in the season. He was absolutely unbelievable. I think it was the game in Toronto on opening night. We haven't seen him since.
And he used to do it in Russia all the time.
Yeah.
And he used to do it in Russia all the time. He had a little
on a bigger rink.
On a bigger rink.
Bigger
I
ice.
mean, the guy can skate. He headmans the puck. But that's hierarchy. That's hierarchy. So, the veteran is looking at Ducharme in that moment and going, that rookie's out there instead of me? That's a hard thing for a coach that's even a veteran coach, not a new coach. So if anybody's asking me, why is this happening for things that we can see so easily, Tony, that's the answer. He's not comfortable enough to walk up to Shea Weber just yet and say, you can't play. You're not good at this.
But he should be, and I'm going to tell you why. You ready? And now listen to this. This is the secret. This is even a bigger secret than the caramel bar. Okay.
What's your secret?
Dominic Ducharme has more power now than he probably ever will coaching behind the bench. Marc Bergevin just put him there a week ago. He's not going to fire him a week later. This is the moment when he has the most power. It's time for him to assume himself. I'm Tony Marinaro. He's Brian Wilde of Global Television Montreal. He's wearing a hoodie, so am I. But I have to tell you that if you go to sportbuffshop.com for all of your officially licensed sports apparel and more, use code SICKHoodies15 for 15% off on all hoodies. You're going to end up finding hoodies of your favorite sports teams, officially licensed apparel. They are absolutely beautiful, Brian, just beautiful. Now, I have to get to this. Jonathan Bernier of Le Journal de Montréal came out with a piece in Friday's edition of Le Journal de Montréal where he detailed some of the conversation between Montreal Canadiens general manager Marc Bergevin and former Montreal Canadiens goalie coach Stéphane Waite. So Jonathan Bernier and Stéphane Waite had a discussion, and Stefan Waite says that Marc Bergevin walked into his loge at the third period, during the third period, at the beginning of the third period, or when it was going to start, I don't know. He walked into his loge and he told them, it's time for me to make a change, and I'm relieving you of your duties. And Stefan Waite looked at him and said, like, you're joking, right? You're kidding? And he looked at him like he wasn't kidding, and he went on to talk about the inconsistencies from Carey Price over the past couple of years and just said, that's it. And it's also reported that Marc Bergevin said, if Carey doesn't get back on track, I'm going to be the next one to lose my job. Now, look, we all thought that was the case, and we all believe that, but to see it that it was actual, or to hear that it was actually said, to see it actually printed, it's really something though, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it is something, but at the same time, if you've been thinking about something for a long time, the moment that you can kind of feel the spark to actually do it, it can come at any time. Like if it was like completely impulsive and he had never thought of it in his mind and then suddenly blurted that out, then I would say that's kind of crazy. But if it's something that he's had on his mind for a long time, the moment that you actually have like that one instance where the courage hits you to actually do and say, and like, have you ever had something on your mind for like you gotta talk to your wife about something and it's just been bugging you for a while and it's nagging at you, and then something she says and then you say it, and that's kind of how it works. And so I'm not that troubled. I, like most people in the media, are way more troubled about this than me, and I'm not really that troubled about it because I think it had to be done, because I look at it from a risk reward, Tony, and from the risk side, he's been like 890 apart from 3 weeks in the bubble for like too long, Oh
no, listen, Brian, you're
and
right.
From the reward side, can he go lower than 890?
Yeah,
885 maybe. So what's the risk? But if somebody new can be a voice that changes things for him, maybe that new voice and a new thing sees something different that the old guy hadn't seen anymore, that had been there so long, or maybe the message just isn't getting through anymore, but whatever. But the upside, the reward feels like it could be 915, and the risk feels like 890 could go to 885. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love the move.
Listen, I love the move that they changed.
It was a little strange, but nobody's going to care about that in 4 months.
Well, here's the deal, though,
turns
Brian.
it around.
I have no problem that they fired Stefan Waite. He's been there since 2013, and Carey Price has been way too inconsistent. But it tells us everything we already knew, right? That if Carey Price's numbers were Jake Allen's numbers in top 10, and Allen's numbers were Price's numbers, then he's not firing him.
No.
The only thing is the Canadians.
You got 10.5. You got 10.5 million in that guy, Tony.
The Canadians must be livid at this news coming out, though, because look, Carey Price gives up a bad goal with a minute and a half left in the second period, and Marc Bergevin goes in and fires him to start the third. It looks like it's reactionary. Now, it may have been, look, I'm sure he thought about it. I'm sure it was discussed, but I think maybe that goal was the straw that broke the camel's back. And at that point, he said, okay, this is it.
And if it was a straw, is that okay? To me, it's okay.
It's okay with me, too.
And, I just finished saying, there's always a moment in time that something happens.
Brian,
you know what I mean?
I still wouldn't have done it after a period. It's the Montreal Canadiens. They could have waited to the next day the way they waited to the next day.
Can I counterpoint?
In 30 seconds.
Sure. Here's my counterpoint on that. Do you think that everyone on the team is bothered by when it happened? Like, do you think Brendan Gallagher's sitting over there and saying he's bothered? Do you think Ducharme is bothered?
No.
Okay. Who's left?
You don't want that going around the league. It's the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay, so from that vaunted Canadian stance, they didn't meet up to these standards that we give them. But I don't think anybody who matters, the guys that are responsible for wins going forward, I don't think anybody's bothered. And if they're not bothered, I'm not bothered.
Well, if I'm going to get fired one day, I hope it doesn't happen 2/3 of the way into my show. I'd rather it happen at the end of my show.
Then don't work in Vancouver.
It's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro. He's Brian Wilde. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Sick Podcast.